The silence before the fall is always treacherous. Everything seems stable, until a nearly invisible detail disrupts the balance and reveals that nothing was under control. It's at that moment that reality rears its head, when what you believed to be solid crumbles like sand between your fingers. Every day, without realizing it, you bet your time, your energy, your future. The table is set, the cards are in play. And yet, most people play blindfolded, repeating moves that lead nowhere. The risk. Losing before even knowing they were competing. The opportunity. Seizing, in seconds, an advantage that redefines the entire course of the match. Think of life as a constantly moving board. Some strive to exhaustion, pushing heavy pieces that never reach the front. Others seem to glide, making room without apparent effort. The difference lies not in strength, but in the secret code that few see. And this code, hidden in small gestures, is what decides who wins and who remains trapped. You feel it in your body, the weight of failed attempts, the wear and tear of repeating paths that lead nowhere. It's like rowing against an invisible current, consuming everything and giving nothing back. But there's another possibility. Imagine finding a break in the flow, a fulcrum that, instead of draining your strength, begins to propel you forward. What if it was possible to turn the game around in just 3 minutes? What if what you always believed difficult, distant, and almost unattainable was one step away from being simple, concrete, and immediate? This question is disturbing because it opens a fissure. If true, it means all the time spent trying to overcome it by force could have been shortened with a different move. The danger isn't in not knowing. The danger is in ignoring. Because life offers these moments like portals. They pass quickly, almost invisible, and only those who are awake pass through. The rest remain trapped, repeating old patterns, swearing there's no way out. But there's always a twist waiting for those who learn to see. A secret passage, a subtle change of pace, an almost imperceptible gesture that causes reality to reorganize around you. The world calls this luck. But luck, in truth, is just the meeting of preparation and perception. And now, you're at that breaking point. What happens from here on out could be the weight that sinks or the lever that lifts. The difference? Recognizing that 3 minutes is enough to transform noise into clarity, effort into results, attempt into achievement. Have you ever noticed how life insists on repeating certain scenarios? It's as if there's an invisible script dictating every step. The same mistakes, the same obstacles, the same frustrations. You wake up with the intention of changing, but by the end of the day you feel like you've been walking in circles. It's an almost suffocating sensation, as if you're in a windowless room, searching for a way out that never appears. With each failed attempt, confidence slips through your fingers and doubt grows. Is there really a way to turn things around, or is it all just an illusion? This question gnaws at you, because it reveals a secret fear, that of spending a lifetime trying and never achieving it. The body feels this weight even before the mind admits it. Shoulders close, breathing shortens, and the chest tightens. It's as if each accumulated defeat leaves an invisible knot, until you start living on autopilot, unaware that time, merciless, marches on. And what's most painful, you often become accustomed to this cycle, like someone accepting a prison without bars. But there's a crack in this pattern. A hidden detail that, when revealed, changes not only what you do, but who you are. Imagine for a moment that this closed room has a chink of light. It's tiny, almost imperceptible, but a closer look is enough to reveal that the exit was always there. This chink is the turning point, the space where the secret rules are revealed to those who dare to see. It's no coincidence that so many people seek precisely this kind of revelation, and when they find it, they decide to stay close, following each new layer that unfolds. Because once you taste real change, you can't go back to the same state you were before. It's like tasting water after a long thirst. Your entire body recognizes that it has found something essential. The truth is that conflict has never been outside, it's always been within. The invisible war between what you desire and what you truly convey to the world. And as long as this contradiction remains, effort becomes noise, time becomes waste, and victory seems like a horizon that never arrives. But the moment you discover coherence, something shifts. The pieces that previously didn't fit begin to move naturally, like gears finally turning in sync. It's at this point that doubt turns into curiosity, and curiosity into silent strength. Perception changes. The gaze changes. Even the silence around you takes on a different quality, as if charged with answers that previously went unnoticed. You sense something is about to reveal itself, but you don't yet know exactly what. It's like standing before a half-open door, listening to what's happening on the other side, about to walk through. It's at this moment that tension builds, almost imperceptibly, like an electric current coursing through your body. The conflict ceases to be a distant idea and becomes a living reality. You feel it when it sets in. Your heart races without warning, your mind races faster than time, and your shallow, anxious breath betrays what you'd rather hide. It's like walking through an invisible minefield, where every step could trigger something beyond your control. What few realize is that the consequences of this state go beyond immediate discomfort. It shapes silent choices, alters paths without you realizing it, and closes doors that could otherwise be open. It's as if a shadow falls over every decision, distorting the clarity you thought you had. You plan, organize, and persist, but deep down something remains out of alignment, and life responds with the same disorder you transmit without realizing it. The feeling is like standing at a crossroads in the dead of night. On one side, the road illuminated by promises never fulfilled. On the other, a narrow corridor, plunged into darkness, but holding the possibility of leading somewhere else. Fear tells us not to risk it. Hope whispers that it's worth crossing. This intimate struggle corrodes us from within, because every moment of indecision prolongs the invisible prison. The contrast becomes even more stark when you imagine what could be. The image emerges clearly: a light body, a serene gaze, a life where steps flow naturally. But this vision is soon swallowed by the weight of what is real: tense shoulders, a racing mind, sleepless nights. The chasm between these two realities grows with each failed attempt, and the greatest pain is not the failure, but the knowledge that it could have been different. All of this creates a silent urgency, a calling you feel but can't name. It's like hearing a distant sound amidst the chaos, a nearly muted frequency that insists on piercing through the noise. Part of you recognizes this call, but another part fears what might happen if you finally decide to follow it. And so the tension lingers, growing with every breath, every postponed choice, every secret yet to be revealed. Yet there's something deeper lurking beneath this turbulent surface. Something that hasn't yet fully revealed itself, but is beginning to insinuate itself, like a shadow moving behind the curtain. It's at this point that the mystery deepens, and the question remains: what will be revealed when the curtain finally lifts? It's at this point that the tension begins to take on more human dimensions. Conflict no longer seems merely an abstract idea. It merges into the small scenes of everyday life. It's in the lost gaze in the mirror, when you silently wonder if you're still the same person you were before. It's in the conversations interrupted by distractions, in the automatic gesture of holding your phone to escape an unnamed annoyance. These are fragments of life that reveal the weight hidden behind routine. And suddenly, what once seemed invisible becomes palpable. You realize it's not just about big choices, but about every detail that shapes your days. It's the dish you let get cold because your mind won't slow down, the night that seems too short because your body can't find rest, the hug that's not fully felt because your attention has already wandered elsewhere. These are simple moments that, if observed calmly, reveal how conflict creeps in without asking permission. But there's another way to look at all this. If pain exposes absence, it also points the way to what needs to be remembered. It's as if each discomfort were a secret note, left so you can see what truly matters. This contrast creates a gap. On one side, the suffocating weight; on the other, the possibility that this same weight is the key to discovering something that was hidden. In moments like these, many feel the urge to express how touched they were, as if leaving a silent sign that the message resonated. It's almost a natural gesture, like when someone touches the speaker's shoulder simply to say, "I felt it too." Small signs of recognition that nourish the journey, transforming what once seemed solitary into something shared. And even when this gap appears, the feeling is that something even greater lurks. Like a shadow of meaning that extends beyond what the eye can see. You realize that the conflict isn't just about what's missing, but about what insists on being born within you. And this growing, still undefined presence is the harbinger of a deeper revelation that has yet to fully reveal itself. There are moments when conflict ceases to be merely a burden and begins to reveal itself like a mirror. It shows not only what's missing, but also what lies hidden behind what you believed to be true. It's like walking down a narrow corridor where each closed door echoes a memory. Choices unmade, words swallowed, silences that have become walls. In this space, breathing becomes shallow, almost a whisper, as if even the air is afraid to expand. And yet, there's a strange beauty to this scene. Because the same corridor that seems to imprison also leads to a point of openness. You feel it in flashes, your heart racing at something unknown, the unexplained shiver that runs through your skin, the strange mix of fear and attraction toward that which has no form yet. It's as if the void itself holds a hidden invitation, beckoning you to cross. The mind resists, creating images of falling, of failure, of loss. But the body, silent, recognizes that there is something beyond this limit. And it is in this contrast that the deepest tension arises, between the voice telling us to retreat and the whisper urging us to advance. Hope and fear intertwine like two rivers meeting, forming a current that both threatens and promises. The images become clearer the more you allow yourself to feel. It's like standing before a divided landscape. On one side, dry, sun-scorched fields where nothing blooms. On the other, the promise of a green, vibrant horizon, teeming with movement. Both coexist within you. And with each step, the ground seems to decide which one will prevail. This duality is not a mistake, but a passage. The pain of carrying the weight shows how much there is to be freed, while the glimpse of the new reveals what can be born when the lock is finally broken. It is in this space between loss and conquest, silence and revelation, that the deepest mystery begins to insinuate itself. Something greater approaches, hidden in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself fully. There comes a moment when duality ceases to be merely a metaphor and begins to permeate every aspect of life. You feel the contrast in your body, as if one half wants to run toward the light while the other clings to familiar shadows. It's your breath that oscillates between relief and pressure, your gaze that sometimes searches for the horizon, sometimes gets lost in the cracks in the ground. Within you, hope and fear walk side by side, each pulling in a different direction. It's impossible not to notice how this is reflected in the little things. The same hand that holds firmly also trembles. The same heart that beats for new paths accelerates in the face of the risk of failure. Even silences carry this conflict. Sometimes they are shelter, other times they are prison. It's like standing before two doors, both open, but each leading to a reality that cannot be experienced simultaneously. The images become almost cinematic. A sun-drenched field, where everything blooms abundantly, blends with the vision of a dark, dense forest, where every footstep echoes like a threat. Both landscapes are within you, coexisting, competing for space. And each choice, however simple it may seem, determines which of these realities gains strength. The mind tries to control, but it's the heart that reveals the truth. It vibrates differently when something is aligned. It contracts when the path isn't yours. This subtle, almost imperceptible language is what truly guides, even when you insist on not listening. And perhaps that's why the conflict becomes so intense, because ignoring this call means living divided, always between what could be and what no longer serves. Tension builds in this suspended space, like a rope stretched to its limit. You sense something needs to snap, but you don't yet know which side the thread will give. It's the bated breath before revelation, the moment when time seems to stand still, as if the world itself is waiting to see which reality you will choose to nurture. Each choice made on this taut thread begins to be reflected like ripples on a lake. The movement seems small, but it reaches much further than you imagine. A subtle gesture of courage opens space for new possibilities to unfold, just as a moment of hesitation can slow the entire pace of a journey. Life reacts like an echo. It returns with the same intensity what you give, whether presence or dispersion. It's easy to see this impact when you pay close attention. The body responds with clear signals, lighter when you align, heavier when you insist on resisting. Relationships also change, even in seemingly trivial details. A conversation becomes more fluid, a gaze deepens, a shared silence stops being uncomfortable and becomes shelter. These are subtle but powerful effects that show how each micro-decision multiplies into visible results. This contrast between effort and reward becomes even starker when you look back. How many times have you expended extreme effort, long hours of struggle, only to realize the results slipped away like sand? And yet, at the same time, how many moments of simple, almost effortless surrender brought unexpected results, as if the entire world had rearranged itself to make way? The difference lies not in the magnitude of the effort, but in the quality of the connection. Imagine it like a garden. Some people dig violently, trying to pull out the fruit prematurely, and find only broken roots. There are also those who plant the seed, water it just right, and suddenly see life sprout almost without warning. The contrast is stark. Anxiety breeds delay, consistency breeds abundance. And even if the process is invisible to the hurried eye, it continues to unfold, silently building what matters most. It's at this point that many begin to recognize themselves in the mirror of these words. A detail resonates deeply, a phrase awakens a memory, an image takes hold in the mind. And, naturally, the desire to record this perception arises, like someone leaving a mark along the way that says, "I felt that too." Some choose to write a single word, others share an entire reflection, but all, in some way, respond to the silent call that echoes here. The tension, however, doesn't dissipate. On the contrary, it grows like a held breath before the next step. Because if the ripples have so far shown subtle effects, there's something even greater waiting to be revealed, something that can transform not only what you do, but how you exist within time itself. As the echo of choices expands, a new awareness begins to emerge. Nothing is neutral. Every gesture, every word, every silence carries a weight that alters the path we take. The world responds in nearly invisible details, like the subtle shift in tone of a conversation, the unexpected lightness of an encounter, or the discomfort that insists on appearing when something isn't right. It's as if reality were a liquid mirror, reflecting not only what you do, but what you carry inside. This realization opens as much as it frightens. Because with clarity comes responsibility. It's no longer possible to say that everything is a matter of chance when one realizes that each internal state is also a transmitter. It is at this point that hope blends with challenge. The feeling that there is a silent power capable of transforming everything, and at the same time the weight of knowing that one can no longer pretend it doesn't exist. The images become intense, almost palpable. Imagine crossing a rope bridge over a deep chasm. The wind blows fiercely, the ground shakes, and every step demands absolute attention. Fear screams that one mistake is all it takes for the fall to be inevitable, but the view on the other side, illuminated by the promise of solid ground, keeps you moving. This crossing is a living metaphor for what happens within each breath, a delicate balance between the risk of falling and the possibility of arriving. And yet, life continues to present obstacles. Some are obvious, like stone walls blocking the way. Others are subtle, like fog that blurs the vision and makes one doubt one's direction. It is in this contrast that learning is built, because without resistance there would be no strength, and without challenge there would be no discovery. Clarity only gains value when it cuts through uncertainty. The rhythm intensifies within you. A moment of silence seems to expand in your chest, while an urgency grows, demanding entry. It's as if something greater is about to reveal itself, hidden behind the still closed curtain. Your heart perceives it before your mind, and your body prepares itself as if already knowing that the next revelation won't be just a detail, but a change capable of reshaping the entire scenario. It is at this point that the crossing becomes even more complex. The ground that seemed firm reveals hidden cracks, and each step carries a silent uncertainty. The mind oscillates between the confidence that something greater is about to reveal itself and the gnawing doubt that perhaps nothing will truly change. This contrast vibrates within the body like a taut string, capable of producing both music and rupture. The sensation is like walking down a corridor lit only by distant torches. The light is there, but it's fragile, dancing with every breath of wind, while the shadows seem to come to life and stretch across the walls. Your heart pounds, not just from fear of the dark, but from the anticipation of what might be hidden beyond it. It's a mixture of dread and attraction, as if the darkness itself holds the key to what matters most. In this space, small perceptions gain unexpected clarity. The sound of a footstep echoes louder than it should. A sudden silence seems to carry meanings that cannot be translated. It's as if every detail becomes a message, every movement a signal. The world around you ceases to be a backdrop and becomes an active participant, reflecting and responding to the emotions you emit without realizing it. And that's where the true weight of the journey arises, understanding that there is no neutrality. Even silence communicates, even doubt shapes paths. At every moment, you're drawing invisible lines that, sooner or later, become walls or passages. This awareness is liberating and at the same time overwhelming, because it allows no escape. Everything matters, even the seemingly insignificant. Yet, amidst the shadows, there are flashes of clarity. They appear like sudden sparks, illuminating for brief seconds what seemed impossible to see. They are fleeting, fragmented visions, but they fuel the certainty that there is something beyond fear. The contrast between light and darkness intensifies, creating an almost unbearable tension, as if the very air were charged with a revelation about to unfold. And when the silence stretches on, almost paralyzing, it's like standing before a door that pulses gently, waiting to be opened. Nothing guarantees what lies on the other side, but the feeling is clear. The next step won't just be continuity, it will be rupture. And it's precisely this uncertainty that keeps the body alert and the mind suspended, as if one's entire destiny hinged on a moment that hasn't yet arrived. The moment of rupture arrives like an invisible breath. It's not explosive, it's not deafening. It's silent, almost imperceptible, but it transforms everything. The door that pulsated before you opens, and what was once shadow now reveals a vast, illuminated space, where every detail seems to carry a new meaning. The weight on your shoulders lifts, your breathing deepens, and for the first time you realize you weren't walking outside, but inside yourself. The journey was not in vain. Every hesitation, every doubt, every silence laden with uncertainty served as a stepping stone. It was necessary to traverse the darkness for the light to gain meaning. It was necessary to face the tension for clarity to become real. And now, looking back, you understand. Conflict was never an enemy, it was a guide. The cracks in the path became passages, the fears became compasses, the falls became accumulated strength. Imagine yourself standing before a clear mirror. Before, it reflected only distorted fragments, images shattered by internal noise. Now, the reflection is clear, whole, as if there were finally coherence between what you feel, think, and transmit. Victory lies not in control, but in attunement. It lies not in forcing, but in recognizing that each breath can align the body with what has always been available, waiting to be perceived. This transformation isn't just yours. It spreads. Every coherent gesture infects those nearby, every clear word resonates beyond you, every aligned choice opens space for others to awaken as well. That's why so many feel the urge to support this journey, leaving silent signs of recognition, like comments that record a word, an insight, a fragment of truth that resonated deeply. And that's also why staying connected to this frequency makes sense, like those who decide to subscribe so as not to lose the thread of this experience that unfolds in layers. The privilege lies in having traversed it, in having felt firsthand the contrast between shadow and light, doubt and trust, imprisonment and freedom. The greatest lesson is not that life changes from the outside in, but that the surrounding field responds to what you choose to breathe within. The discovery is simple and at the same time immense. Each moment can be the beginning of a new reality. Now, silence is not a threat, it is rest. Darkness is not a prison, it is a pause. Fear is not an obstacle, it is a reminder. Everything takes on a new meaning when seen from here. And you know, being present at this point in the journey is a rare privilege. Because it's not just about hearing or understanding, it's about feeling, in your own body, that something profound has been transformed. And from here on, every breath is the living sign of that change.